Hello everyone, Cowbunger here, and it is finally time for the 1000 subscribers special. Thank you all again for getting me to that goal. It was pretty much the only one I wanted to hit. If we grow from here, it'll be cool, but nothing tops this for me unless I somehow get to some crazy high number. I'm not looking that far ahead for my channel. Instead, I'm going to be looking ahead to the future of Super Smash Bros. For my 750 subscriber special, I talked about what my ideal Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster would be. I replaced lots of characters and ditched the everyone is here concept because I felt like I could create a better roster that way. And I guess the question is now, what do you do to make the next Smash Bros. Game even bigger than Ultimate? It's not an easy question to answer. I think that if you tried to create a new Smash game from scratch, unless it had like 5 years of development time, there's no way it could realistically be bigger than Smash Ultimate at launch. So there are two things that you could probably do. One is that you could make the next Smash Bros. Game a free-to-play game that starts off smaller than Smash Ultimate, but will eventually, over the course of years of updates, become bigger than Smash Ultimate was. I think this could actually be a very healthy way to bring Smash forward. You all know that microtransactions for a Smash game would go crazy, but I think starting off as a smaller game and building up the scope of the roster from there would be great. You'd have your definitive single-player content available right off the gate, and then from there, updates would include these characters into the single-player content seamlessly. I'm thinking classic routes for every character, and you could even bring back minigame stages that are specifically made for each character. Break the targets and board the platforms returning would be splendid. You can add more items and stages based on which characters get added. And here's the kicker. You can call the game Super Smash Bros. Free-for-All. Get it? Because it's a free-to-play game and the free-for-all phrase therefore has a double meaning? I am predicting this into existence. It will happen one day. Doesn't even have to be Smash. There will be some kind of free-to-play fighting game with free-for-all in the title. And I'm sure the dev who steals that idea from me will give me royalties. Anyway, that is one route that they could go, but you know Nintendo. They just want to do things in a more traditional way. They want Smash to not go in a drastic new direction because it has been very successful. And being the cash goblins they are, they want to have a solution that is guaranteed to make them lots of money. So if I was Sakurai in that scenario, I think the best thing I could do to make a game bigger than Ultimate is to port Smash Ultimate to whatever new system is coming out and just build upon it from there. But I gotta be honest, man. When I was building a roster for a Smash Ultimate port, I still felt like there were characters in there that I could cut or change in some way. I just can't help it. So screw it. If I were Sakurai, I am still going to use mostly Smash Ultimate assets for a new game so I can cut development time significantly. However, my goal is to make a 100 character roster. It's not enough to add 5 more characters on top of the Smash Ultimate roster. No. We need to reach that monumental roster number, one that will never be topped by any other Smash game or fighting game ever again. You thought we went all out with Smash Ultimate? No sir. We are reaching for the tippity-top accolade on this game. And we are picking the best 100 characters to represent video games, mainly Nintendo games, because we are biased, but still. We are adding all the fan favorites and leaving no character behind. Except for your favorites, of course. As a base, I'm going to be using the roster I made for the 750 subscriber special. If you haven't watched it yet, you should. We will be making some specific modifications to that roster, and then from there we are adding characters that were not there before. So, let us begin. Let's go over some roster changes I plan to make here. So, here's the roster I made for the 750 subscribers special. I am going to be bringing most of these characters back, but I will be making some minor modifications to the roster. First things first, let's talk about Echo Fighters. Echo Fighters do not count towards the roster count in Smash Ultimate, but for my roster, I'm going to turn every Echo Fighter I keep into a separate character. I'm going to make each of them either semi-clones or give them completely new movesets. With that being said, I'm not keeping every Echo Fighter. Some of them are going to be costumes instead. The first one I'm getting rid of is Daisy. I kind of made her a semi-clone in my previous roster, but at this point, she is not worth being her own character slot. She'll be just fine as a costume. Next one I'm getting rid of is Lucina. Yep, another Fire Emblem character dies by my hand, This time is one of the clones. The reason I did this is because I do not want 2 Fire Emblem clones taking up 2 slots in my roster. I'm cool with 1 Fire Emblem clone, but not 2. Of the 2, Chrom feels more unique than Lucina. Plus, I think it's funny that Lucina has to sit out of this game like Chrom sat out for Smash 4. It's gone full circle now. Chrom could be a hybrid of Marth and Roy in this one, just having the best moves of the 2, but his damage output is not as good as either character to make up for it. The rest of the Echoes stay, and now they have some new moves to play around with. Dark Pit will have some weapons from Kid Icarus Uprising that Pit does not use in his moveset, and Richter will have some different specials and a new property to his smash attacks. I would also probably make some changes to Simon's normal attacks just so they can be differentiated even more, but I'll probably get into that if I do a moveset analysis on him and all that good stuff. I have one more change I want to make to the roster. I have decided to get rid of the Mii Brawler, Gunner, and Swordsman in favor of just one Mii. This Mii will just represent the Mii games within its moveset, and you can still change the Mii's appearance to whatever you want. I think the Mii shouldn't be removed outright. It is probably the most iconic avatar character in gaming, but I do not want 3 of them taking roster slots, so I'm going to remove all the customization that you get from the 3 Miis with different playstyles, custom moves, and Mii costumes. I think the Mii representing Mii games is a nice compromise though. So with all of these changes, we have a roster size of 84 currently. That means we have 16 character slots to work with. I'd say that's a great number of newcomers and well worth the cuts we made. Now, it's almost time for new additions, but before that, the question needs to be asked. Is there anyone that I cut in my Smash Ultimate roster that I would like to see in this 100 character roster? The answer is yes. I have 1 character I want to bring back, and the rest are staying in the vault. The 1 character I'm bringing back is Joker. While I don't think he should have been in Smash Ultimate, the game where all the fan favorites should have gotten in, I do think that his inclusion was a very smart one. Persona in general sells extremely well and deserved a place in Smash no matter what. In my Smash Ultimate roster, I just replaced him with a more fan requested pick, but for a new Smash game, I'm sure he would become very highly requested if he never got into Ultimate. So it's time to undo this injustice and bring Joker back to the fight. Now we've got 15 newcomer slots to work with. Now for our actual newcomers, I'm going to be going over third-party characters first. I wanted to have a nice balance of new third parties and first parties in this newcomer roster. But the third parties are usually more exciting for fans, so I want to cover them first to keep your interest as long as possible. If you are liking the videos so far, then give it a like and help spread it around, by the way. For our first newcomer, I'm doing something that feels mandatory in most Smash games. I'll feel like I'll be giving it away if I talk about it further, so I will explain myself when the reveal happens. Here we go. Oh yeah, here we go. I can just see the Geno haters clicking off the video now. Here's the big reason why Geno is here. The main thing that has kept Geno from being a playable character before is that he wasn't the most relevant Square Enix character Sakurai could have chosen. I am very happy that characters like Cloud, Hero, Sephiroth, and Sora all were chosen to be in Smash before Geno. But with the Super Mario RPG remake arriving soon, I still can't believe that is a real thing that's actually happening, by the way. Now there is no excuse. Geno is relevant again, he is one of the most requested characters for Smash, and he is a Mario character, and I feel like Sakurai always gets a new Mario character in each Smash game if he can. So I will have the same line of thinking and welcome Geno as the first newcomer in my roster. If the Super Mario RPG remake wasn't a thing, I probably would have put Paper Mario in this spot. It does pain me to say he is not in this roster. Trust me, I'm making some sacrifices here and trying not to be biased. Oh, alright, it's time for our next newcomer. This one is a character that felt missing in Smash Ultimate's roster. Undoubtedly one of the most iconic characters in video game history. The most iconic villain to never get in Smash, it's Dr. Eggman. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? Just imagine the matchups we have been missing. Eggman versus Mario, Eggman versus Bowser, Eggman versus Steve, Oval Man versus Square Man. Yeah, that's a dream matchup right there. Still, Eggman would fit like a glove into Smash. He has so many boss battles that you could take inspiration from for a moveset, and he is probably more iconic than 75% of the roster. Welcome, Egghead. Time for our next newcomer. Let's keep going with the most iconic characters from the biggest gaming corporations. Smash Bros. Desperately needs to represent the shooting game genre more. I guess the main problem with that is that depicting any character with a gun could increase the age rating or maybe have some problems with other crossovers. I think they got away with it with Joker because he technically uses a fake gun in Persona 5. Of all the shooter games you could represent, Halo is the one that you could probably work around if you don't want Master Chief to use an actual gun. There's a variety of weapons Master Chief could still use that don't shoot actual bullets, so I think he can still work. Along with that, he is just the most requested character from the genre, so it only feels right for him to join the fight if there was a new Smash game. Well, it's that time again. Let's really solidify the idea of representing all the big video game companies with this next pick. Kratos, the God of War, joins my roster. There are many reasons why Kratos should be in Smash. While there are some characters in Smash that are heavily associated with PlayStation, I wouldn't say that there's a true PlayStation rep in Smash. God of War's PlayStation's breakout franchise, it has consistently been one of the best-selling series on the system. To have someone like Kratos in Smash Bros. Specifically would make people say, oh crap. PlayStation had to collaborate with Nintendo to make this happen. Kratos has plenty of moveset potential, and I'm sure having matchups like Kratos vs. Pit could actually be fun. Imagine a brand new Palutena guidance between the two. Of course, we have Kratos vs. Bayonetta as well, two legends within the hack and slash genre. I wish Dante could be here as well, but I'm gonna stick with my gut and say that they wouldn't add him because of his use of actual guns. Which is a shame. Well, on that note, it's time for another newcomer. This is not Dante, but this is a character who has been a Mii costume in the past. Similar to Geno, it feels like Bomberman has been on the cusp of being a playable character in Smash a couple of times, but never quite got there. If there is a new Smash game, he should finally get that playable slot. With Bomberman, it would feel like we would have almost every big gaming mascot character in Smash. But we aren't going to add him just because of legacy. Bomberman would prove to be a unique fighter, as representing his equally as unique games would be a challenge. But if that challenge was handled correctly, he could end up being a very fun character. I mean, explosions would be going off everywhere. He would be a stage controlling character that also has to avoid his own bombs, which is just not something we have in Smash. A glass cannon of sorts, Bomberman would cause chaos that is perfect in the Smash Bros. Environment. The siren goes off again. Now we are taking a look at a character whose franchise also got a lot of love in Smash Ultimate, but never received a playable slot before. Here is your new Capcom rep, Monster Hunter. The Monster Hunter series has been closely tied to Nintendo for a long time now, with its latest game being a Nintendo Switch exclusive. It makes all the sense in the world for Monster Hunter to be in this game. To actually be able to have Monster Hunter fight the Rathalos boss would be great. It was genuinely surprising that we never got Monster Hunter in Ultimate. I see them as a character who sets up opponents with traps to get huge hits. And of course we gotta go with the Rise design for the character. Alright, here we go again. This next character is one I'm surprised we haven't got yet either. Here's a bit of a legacy pick. The protagonist from the Ninja Gaiden series, Ryu Hayabusa, joins my roster. Ninja Gaiden really feels like the last big NES franchise that has never had any representation in Smash. I wanted to add an NES legacy character like this since every Smash roster tries to do that, and Ninja Gaiden was the most glaring omission after Castlevania. While I don't think the Ninja Gaiden series has been very relevant recently, as its last game release was a collection of older games, I think that is the great thing about Smash. It can bring back a character that hasn't had a new game in a long time and make the fans of that character happy. With Ryu, he has plenty of things he could do. I just see him being a badass ninja, and I don't know what else you could ask for. Alright everyone, it's time for our final third-party character to join the roster. There will totally not be any more after this. Remember when I said almost every big gaming mascot character was in Smash? Well, here's the last one that I think really completes things. Crash Bandicoot, another big-time PlayStation character, joins the roster. What really needs to be said about him? We just need his goofy mug to make an appearance. It would just be surreal with the roster we already have to be able to have Crash against any other mascot character. It just feels right for him to be there. Now, we are going to get our first Nintendo character into the roster. I'm just going to go ahead and get this one out of the way. I love how most Smash games introduce some kind of joke character to the roster. So for a new Smash game, I think the joke character should be Ring Fit Trainee. Now, there's always still some merit to a joke character's inclusion in Smash. They are still always usually a big part of Nintendo's history. In Ring Fit's case, it is one of the best-selling Switch games. I have actually played Ring Fit, and that crap is actually pretty hardcore, and the moveset potential for the trainee is surprising if you've never played the game. But yeah, I think Wii Fit Trainer will now have a friend on the roster, which is nice to see. Next up, we are taking a look at a character from another bestseller on Nintendo Switch. It's time for another Splatoon rep, and this time it's the Octoling. Splatoon has proven to be Nintendo's breakout new franchise, and it has been expanded upon so greatly since the Inkling's inclusion that I think Octoling could have a whole new moveset from the Inkling. While the Inkling covers a good chunk of the weapons from Splatoon, there are still plenty of weapons that haven't been represented, including new additions from Splatoon 3. You could incorporate the dualies, the splatling gun, the umbrella, a sniper rifle, the bow, and of course, the Splatana. I think Octoling could kinda be like how Lucas is to Ness, where their moves are similar but distinct. And I think Octoling is a more than deserving representative of the series. Now, for our next character, I am righting a wrong I made with my version of the Smash Ultimate roster. Skull Kid, one of Zelda's most iconic villains, joins my roster. The Legend of Zelda series has no shortage of iconic villains to choose from, but for me, none is greater to represent in Smash than Skull Kid. The main reason I want to do this is because I got rid of Young Link from my roster, who was the main representative of Majora's Mask. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are both looked at as some of the most iconic games in the Zelda franchise. And I think it's fitting that Ganondorf would represent Ocarina of Time while Skull Kid represents Majora's Mask. Ganondorf can represent the legend of a great reoccurring evil, while Skull Kid can represent the more weird side of Zelda while still being menacing. I mean, all you have to do is look at that mask to feel uncomfortable. Along with that, I imagine his moveset would revolve around doing some outright scary movements with his body. The mask could gain some appendages for attacks, and Skull Kid could just move around like he's a puppet, a vessel that the mask is in control of. Overall, I would like to see Skull Kid to just be this overwhelming force that you have to overcome to really sell how it feels to fight the clock in Majora's Mask. Alright, I've got one more villain to add to this roster. This one is a recent favorite. Raven Beak, more like Raven Peak, am I right? The final boss of Metroid Dread is in this roster because the game was the latest and greatest entry to the 2D Metroid franchise. Raven Beak is a center point of the story and has become a high request for Smash since his debut. One thing I think all Smash games have always lacked was villains in its roster. Smash Ultimate did a decent job of rectifying it, and now with my roster, it really feels like no one is being left behind. All the big bads are here, from the most iconic to the most recent. Raven Beak could highlight some new mechanics introduced in Metroid Dread, and be a unique heavyweight that relies on burst movement and area of effect attacks to impose his power onto opponents. Couple that with some super armor at low percents, and this guy could be a serious threat on the battlefield. Alright, I think it might be time to fill another obligation that Smash usually likes to do with its roster in every new game. Here is the new Pokemon I've chosen for this roster, Sceptile. Like I said, every new Smash game seems to want to add the newest Pokemon to the roster. and I really thought about all the possibilities here. I thought about Tinkaton, as they are one of the most popular new Pokemon. I thought about Meowscarada because that seems to be the most popular starter of the new generation. I also thought about some old Pokemon because I really don't see an absolute need to advertise the newest Pokemon game this time around. So I thought about how Meowth is probably the second most iconic character in the Pokemon anime next to Pikachu, and maybe this is finally his time to shine. But no, I decided against that, and I thought about Gengar because he's just cool as heck and would represent some new typing amongst the rest of the playable cast. But I ultimately decided that since I'm having such a hard time deciding who will get in, that I should just look at what everybody else has requested and pick the Pokemon I saw the most. And the one I saw the most was both Grovyle and Sceptile. I think people want Grovyle because of its big role in the DS Mystery Dungeon games, and while I also love Grovyle's character in those games, it would be weird to have Grovyle in there to represent a spin-off Pokemon game. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or if Game Freak would really be up for that, so I just went with Sceptile. Sceptile can expand upon the grass typing in ways that Ivysaur has not explored. If he played similarly to how he did in Pokken Tournament, that would make me pretty happy. That was character 98. We are almost done here. Our next character is one that represents the most critically acclaimed game of their franchise. The protagonist of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Noah, joins my roster. I gotta be honest, I have never played Xenoblade, but it is one of Nintendo's most popular franchises right now, and someone from Xenoblade 3 feels like a must. So I have chosen Noah, but I can't really elaborate on his moveset unfortunately. But this is Xenoblade, I'm sure it's not hard to figure something out here. Alright, we are finally here. This is character 100 coming up. Our final character here is my favorite Nintendo character, who is so associated with the brand that I cannot believe that he has never been in Smash. Get dunked on, baby, let's go! Come on, come on. You know I had to do it, you know I had to do it to you. Hey, what are you doing? I just made my dog bark after that, she was scared. She thought that there was somebody attacking me or something, but no, I'm just screaming about Sans into the void here. Anyway, I had to do it to you, you know I did. No, Sans is not a Nintendo character, but he is joining my roster anyway, as my true final third-party pick. One thing that Smash really needs is a true indie game representative. Steve kinda was that, but obviously Minecraft was pretty much a AAA game franchise by the time Steve joined Smash. And of all the indie game characters they could add, I really do think that somebody from Undertale or Deltarune should join. But you know me, I'm completely unbiased when I say this, of course. But Sans, more than any other character, represents Undertale at its best. Yes, I don't even think the human character you control represents Undertale as much as Sans. He is goofy, fun, and a lovable character. But he also completely understands the dark reality of his situation entirely, and he takes it to his advantage in his boss fight, and despite all of it, still pushes to be the funny skeleton guy in every playthrough of Undertale. Until you kill Papyrus anyway. It's inspiring to say the least, and it's why I love the guy so much myself. As a character, I just think there would be nothing like him. There's no other character who could replicate the playstyle and gimmicks that I think Sans would have. Undertale is also just a cultural phenomenon within Japan, so I really just don't see it being any other character in this slot. Like, I really only think the only other indie game character that deserves to be in Smash is a Touhou character, but I feel like Deltarune is going to have a place on Nintendo systems for a long time to come. Along with that, I think Toby just has the stronger connections to Nintendo in general, as he's worked with Game Freak a couple of times. I'm still pulling for Sans to appear in one of these dang platform fighting games. He really is the only character left that I want to see fully realized as a platform fighting game character. Here's the full roster for my 100 character Smash Bros. Game. What do you think? Let me know in the comments why you are mad that your favorite Scrimbo Bimbo or Anime Swordsman did not make the cut. Trust me, I left out some characters that I didn't really want to leave out. I think the main one was Lloyd Irving. I'd say he's just about as deserving as somebody like Joker. Who knows, maybe I should have just kept Joker out and put Lloyd in. I don't know. Let me know your opinion of the roster. Leave a like if you made it to the end. Subscribe to see more Smash content like moveset analysis, where I take a look at a Smash character's moveset and judge how good it is, and also make changes if I feel like they are needed. Channel members got this video one day early. Along with that, they get many other perks like exclusive content. Thank you to StreamU, Salt Levels Max, Nuova, and Colby for supporting me. If you like the idea of me doing more rosters, let me know, and thank you again for 1,000 subscribers. I hope you join me along the ride as I continue to explore new ideas and cover all platform fighting games. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.